The Master Chief Collection has been doing pretty great these last few months. After the poor state of Halo 2 on PC, the Halo 3 themed update was a welcome improvement. The release was relatively bug-free minus some issues with the shadows. It expanded upon the challenge system, unlocked full armor customization for Halo 3, and even brought a surprising and welcome customization system to Combat Evolved. It was an important update for the MCC, because not only was the quality assurance going to be under extra scrutiny after Halo 2, it would be the first time Halo 3 was released on other platforms. 343's live team needed it to be a win, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park. They set a high bar for future releases, and now that ODST's big MCC update is here, did it live up to the high bar set by the Halo 3 update? I'm happy to say that the quality bar was not just met, but surpassed. The ODST update not just delivers what was expected of ODST on PC, it goes out of its way to do things the community only dreamed of. In this video, we're going to go through the visual presentation of the ODST port, the audio experience, and finally what the user will experience when booting up the MCC following this big update. Everything I'll be talking about here can be attributed to the Xbox One version, minus some PC-specific quirks. So if you haven't touched the MCC in a while, you might want to update that Xbox copy. There's a lot of goodies waiting for you. If you find yourself enjoying the video, a like and a comment and a ring of the bell is appreciated, and let's begin. Halo 3 ODST is a spin-off game that runs on the Halo 3 engine, which means the game will look extremely familiar to those who played a lot of Halo 3. Animations, models, lighting, visuals, it will all look very much at home for those who have been playing Halo 3 the last few months. Don't go in expecting a new game, but rather what the 360 release was, a Halo 3 expansion. This doesn't mean it replicates the environments of Halo 3 though. Due to ODST taking place during the events of Halo 2, the game attempts to mimic that look during the daytime stages while evoking a rain-soaked noir vibe at night. Halo 3's lighting and coloration engine can look downright beautiful in natural and sunlit environments, but tends to show some cracks the larger the environments become, and when stacked with the desaturated color filter Bungie used during the daytime stages to mimic the look of Halo 2, these cracks show up more often in this game than they did in Halo 3. The game can go from looking absolutely gorgeous in urban and dark environments, and strangely flat and outdated in daytime environments. ODST is known for being a game that really likes the color red, a bit too much, which has led to complaints about how harsh it can look when under fire. When you use the visor mode, color saturation is toned down and items of interest are highlighted in green, blue, or red. You do feel like a futuristic Sam Fisher whenever you click that thing on and all this tactical information is presented to you, and it's really cool. But when you turn this visor mode off, you can see where the complaints come from. The color balancing is tuned in a really strange way that makes reds and blues super red and super blue. And I don't think the Halo 3 engine was built for this kind of stylized color palette. A simple red door will be so aggressively red that I won't blame you for thinking there's a layer of moisture on your monitor. It's similar to going outside on a humid day and having your glasses fog up. It's a very strange and kind of blurry look that I don't think works quite the way that Bungie intended it to work. On PC, I personally use Reshade to tone down the saturation of reds, and it's helped a lot actually. And on the topic of PC features, what I was curious about was how the field of view would impact the atmosphere of the game. Pulling the FOV out to maybe like 110 means that the skybox is a lot more visible than it used to be, and the imposing burning towers and smoke-filled sky has more of a presence during your time playing. It's something I felt added quite a bit to the experience, although I opted to play the game with the FOV at 80 in order to make sure that enemies appeared large to my tiny ODST frame. 343 has also, of course, provided players with crosshair placement options, and you can tell that care was taken to make the adjusted view models feel natural and even native to this style of crosshair. I may be imagining things, but the assault rifle specifically looks like it was adjusted to mimic the view model placement of Combat Evolved, and I thought it was a pretty cool detail from 343. I was surprised at how well rendered concrete and urban environments were in ODST, especially with 16 times anisotropic filtering enabled in the NVIDIA control panel. Textures and materials popped on the ground more than they do on the console version, and it gave New Mombasa more depth. One area I do, however, need to complain about is an old issue from the Halo 3 port that was carried over to ODST. Seeing as ODST is a game with very subtle and stylized lighting and shadow placement, it was important that the lighting was on point, and here it's about 85% there. The player's hands and shadows on the ground still flicker and snap between lighting states instead of smoothly transitioning, and it honestly looks worse here than it did in Halo 3, so I'm not sure if something got actually worse under the hood code-wise. At times, it looks like an honest-to-God texture glitch, and I'm surprised that it still has not been addressed despite being reported all the way back during the Halo 3 flighting period. It's not supposed to look like this, and the longer the lighting stays this way, the harder it is to not notice whenever your hands start glitching out or the player's shadow starts spazzing out on the ground. It's a disappointing bug to still see not addressed, but the fact it's the only area of criticism is a sign of how well they did. Just like Halo 3's big update, the audio for ODST has been pretty fantastic. The game's audio experience transferred to the PC beautifully. 343's taking great care to preserve the audio experience of this game after Reach Combat Evolved in Halo 2's audio issues, and it sounds gorgeous on my speaker setup. ODST is a game that got a lot of flack on release in 2009 for being boring when compared to the bombastic nature of Halo 3, and as time went on, this quiet and subdued soundscape aged really well. I catch myself sometimes falling into a pleasant fog as I walk through the large hub worlds. Soft jazz or pianos will start playing as the rain lands all around me, only for the distant sound of a brute barking orders to snap me out of this trance. This isn't to say, though, that the game is always quiet. In fact, its action music is stellar. Relying heavily on drums, basses, and guitars, and crafting some of the most empowering tracks Michael Salvatore and Marty O'Donnell have ever composed. The musical direction for the game both makes you want to cozy up next to a fire with a good book, and absolutely geek out to some of the 80s' best rock music. Stellar sound design, and stellar work from the folks who brought it to PC. From the snappy thwipping of the silenced SMG, to the car alarms and light-up signs guiding your way. This is truly a special audio experience. The first 5 or so months of the MCC's PC live service felt a lot like a game of compromises. For every pro, there was a con. For every win, like a challenge system, there were crippling performance issues in Halo 2's campaign or audio and visual bugs across the ports. Starting though with Halo 3, the quality delivered to players was vastly improved and honestly even better with the surprise inclusion of really cool features like Combat Evolved's customization options, new goodies added to the Forge modes, the challenge system and battle pass system being redesigned into a new style of system where you pick and choose what you want to fill up each tier before moving on to the next tier. It's a system that I wish other battle passes adopted. I feel like I have more control over the process of completing it. Halo 3's release on PC was a blast for me. Logging on MCC each weekly reset and picking a few PvE challenges to quickly grind up my unlock tokens became a part of my weekly gaming rituals alongside Destiny bounties, and I really enjoyed the summer because of it. ODST's update has pushed the bar even higher, not only adding new skin and customization options to Halo 3, but straight up adding ODST Firefight to the MCC with custom game support and matchmaking, something we all wanted but didn't actually think would happen. Firefight being added is a big win, but 343 even added the customization system from ODST with all the old skins and completely new ones, such as unique character models that were used only in cutscenes. This is awesome to see new content here. I'm not done, by the way, because while ODST is getting a lot of love, 343 added ODST's new weapons to Halo 3, which breathes fresh life into the 13-year-old game. The Recon Slayer game type, cheekily named after Halo ODST's original name, is a new Halo 3 variant that uses the ODST weapon sandbox and has players starting with a silenced SMG and silenced pistol. For those complaining that Halo 3 is too slow, this might be more of your speed. It's aggressively fast. Maybe not as fast as Combat Evolved, but I found myself struggling to keep up during online matches at times. This silenced pistol is definitely a battle rifle style utility weapon, and its role in the Halo 3 sandbox will be interesting to track and see how it affects the other guns. Halo 3 also saw an overhaul to how its netcode worked. If Halo 3 feels more responsive after this last patch, that's why. It's still not flawless. Halo 3's hit detection is still very wonky, but what 343 did to that old engine helped a lot this update. 343 also unlocked armor customization for Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer, which means you're going to be seeing a lot more variety in the silhouettes of players. The developers have been going above and beyond what we expected from them, making up for the shortcomings in the quality assurance for Reach, Combat Evolved, and Halo 2. It is a bit frustrating to see previous ports still in rough states, but with a small live service team, I can understand that a proper MCC-wide polishing pass will be more convenient for them to do once all the games are on PC and accounted for. The user experience is excellent this season. ODST's port may be the same as Halo 3's port, complete with the same pros and cons, but what accompanied this package is what makes this a stellar update for not just PC players, but Xbox players too. For those who haven't touched the MCC in a while, I'd recommend checking this update out. Not only is ODST a great Halo 3 campaign expansion, the update itself adds new content that is incredibly inviting and spiffs up old content to be much more inviting itself. This was a good update, much better than I expected, and with Halo 4's big update around the corner, I'm genuinely excited to see what comes next for the Master Chief Collection, such as the much anticipated crossplay and custom games browser. This was a solid package all around, and more than we expected from the developers. They did fantastic work, and I'm gonna get back to playing if you don't mind.